Hi everyone, today I am going to be sharing how to clean a coffee pot to get the best tasting coffee out of whatever type of coffee pot that you have. So this is my coffee bar area and let's get started. The first thing I did was to empty my coffee out of the coffee pot. I did not wash it. You'll do that later. And I filled it to the 8-cup level with vinegar. And I just use, I think this one is Kroger brand, but I often buy the Target brand also. Just plain old distilled white vinegar is what I use. Nothing fancy, and like I said, it's always just the store brand, depending on what store I'm at. And the only other thing I did here was in my filter basket, I just made sure that it was empty of grounds and gave it a good rinse with cold water. Now I'm going to take this and just pour it into the reservoir. I'm not sure I said that right, but you get the point. Okay, put that in there. And you just turn it on. We're going to let that brew through. After it brews through, you're going to let it set. I would let it set maybe about a half hour on, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so the vinegar ran through the system and I let it sit for a half hour, approximately a half hour, and then I shut the coffee pot off. Well, actually I shut the coffee pot off and let the vinegar sit in there. And I did that, I shut it off because the vinegar was going to stay in there after it brewed through, but I wanted the coffee pot, the carafe, this to cool off so that I could dump the vinegar and rinse it out with cold water and refill it without any chance of possibly cracking the carafe. So I have gone ahead and filled this, rinsed it really good with fresh cold water, filled it up to the 12 mark this time with just fresh cold water. I also took this out and rinsed this really good with cold water. Now I still haven't washed anything at this point. Now the coffee pot might still be kind of hot, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pour the fresh cold water in. And turn this on and let it run through. Now, after this runs through, I'm going to immediately shut it off, take this out, and repeat the process. Now, I won't let it sit. A trick I have to cool this down is to start with warmer water and then just slowly bring the temperature down. So I start with really warm water. I'll dump this water out once it brews through, and I'll start rinsing it with very warm water, almost, you know, it's like totally hot from my tap. And then I'll just start turning the cold on until it cools down the pot. And then I'll let a second batch of water run through, and then I'll be back and I will clean the pot and, oops, sorry about that. And we'll go from there. Okay, so I have finished the rinsing process. I let two coffee pots full of fresh cold water run through the system. And then after that was done, I'm sorry, getting my hand in the way there. Once I was done, I left this open, and I took the filter out, the basket and the filter and the coffee carafe, and I used a soft sponge with dish soap and just scrubbed it nice and clean, rinsed it real good with cold water, and wiped it all dry. Then I took, and I'm sorry I keep getting my hand in the way there, I took a bunch of paper towel and I wiped this. I wiped a little bit just in what I could reach in the where you pour the water at, and I wiped the filter area dry. I pulled the filter out, made sure the whole filter holder area was dry in there. Gave the whole outside of the coffee pot a good wipe down and underneath. And now it's clean and ready to go. Now, what I do is I run the vinegar through on a monthly basis because I use my coffee pot at least once a day. So if you are a a heavy user on your coffee pot, I would suggest once a month. If you don't use it every day, then you could go every other month or every couple months. But so that's something you have to kind of decide for yourself depending on how often you use your coffee pot. Also, once I'm done using the coffee pot for the day, and it's usually in the morning. What I've been doing lately is I make my morning coffee and I have a couple cups, and then I put the rest of it in a carafe, a separate thermal carafe. So that way I can shut off the coffee pot, rinse out this and the filter basket, and dry it all up nice inside. I do that every day. I do after I'm not going to use it for the rest of the day. I wipe out in here, rinse everything out, and rinse this out. Now, I don't wash this every day. I wash it about, I'm going to say, once or twice a week. I do rinse it every day, but I don't wash it out every day. And just a couple more tips. Naturally, a clean coffee pot and clean running system is going to make your coffee taste better. It's not only going to lengthen the length of the lifetime of your coffee pot itself, but it's going to make better coffee. And a couple other tips to ensure that you have the best tasting coffee you can is to regardless of the type of coffee you buy or the flavor or the brand, keep it in a cool, dry place. You don't want it exposed to heat. You don't have to refrigerate it or freeze it, but you really should keep it in a cool, dry place away from air, in an airtight container. What I've been doing is just keeping it right in the can. I have all my coffee supplies in this cupboard here, coffee filters and my cans of coffee, and I just keep the scoop right in, it fits right in the can of coffee, and it's away from heat. It stays cool, it stays dry, and it stays really fresh. And that's especially, it's even more important if you don't go through coffee very often, if you take a long time to go through a can of coffee. So yeah, that's how I maintain and clean my coffee pot. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more. If you like this one, please subscribe and thumbs up the video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.